Today's collectible spot, we are having a look at the Hot Wheels Batman 1980s comic Batmobile. I might also add this is one of my favorite Batmobiles, probably more so because I grew up with this Batmobile. It's the 1980s Batmobile, but it's also very strikingly close to the Challenge of the Super Friends Batmobile, which had slight variations to the paint, but it's pretty much on about the same sort of design. It comes from the Hot Wheels line of Batmobiles, recommend for ages 8 and up. The back of the package shows you some of the other vehicles available. The Bat, the Tumbler, or the Bat and the Bat Pod from the Dark Knight movies. And then you've got the 1980s comic Batmobile, and the Batman and Robin Batmobile. It says each sold separately, just in case you didn't know by the front there. Down below you've got Warner Brothers and Batman. That's about it. Spot's going to take a break and get this opened up. When we come back, though, we're getting a better look at the 1980s Batmobile. There's more heading your way, guys. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. So let's get a better look at the Batmobile now in hand. It's more so really based on appearances it made in the animated series back in the 80s. It did have some variations to the design. At one point, the Super Friends had a design closer to the 66 Batmobile design, but then they tweaked it to look something a little bit more like this. And then the comics kind of took that same sort of design, tweaked it a little bit, but it's kind of always had that same sort of look where it was a blue Batmobile, and then you had a black face of somewhat like looking like an actual bat, and then little accents of yellow. In this case, we've got yellow on the bat emblems, on the actual tires there, and the bat emblem on the doors. Something you also notice about this particular Batmobile is that the door opens. It doesn't do the greatest of jobs of staying up. Well, it stays up if you add a little bit of pressure to it, just like that, but it doesn't stay up very well, nor does it angles far enough up that you can see, well, maybe you can see the engine inside there complete with also an emblem on the engine. So I like at least that it opens and closes. That's a nice touch. The inner workings, you can see that there is an emblem, or maybe you can see there's an emblem on the steering wheel. Gray seats. Looks like there is a little computer console right on the inside there on the dash. I like the blue glittered metallic paint that they've added to the Batmobile too. It really makes it stand out. It's not heavy, doesn't really have a lot of weight to it. Free rolling tires, no issues at all with it rolling. Of the ones that we've been looking at, yeah, some of them were movies. This was not really so much a movie release of the Batmobile, but it's one of my personal favorites, just a real soft spot for me. In the comics, again, like, it sort of had this design, and then it branched off where it eventually had these kind of weird kind of fins at the back. I think there is a Hot Wheel release of a Batmobile that has that. I wouldn't mind picking that up. It doesn't feel like the undercarriage or any of it feels metal. Maybe it's a little bit of metal, but it feels like it's mostly comprised of plastic. Some scale comparisons, though it's not really quite the same medium, but there it is next to the 66 Batmobile from the classic series. We'll just put those right there, and just a couple of more notable comparisons. The Batman Forever Batmobile that we've looked at as well, and just for fun, there he is next to the Batman Returns Batmobile. Of course, Returns Batmobile way too small, something I've touched base on a couple of these videos already. Scale, not crazy about the scale, I have to admit. I wish the scale was better. I wish the scale was closer. I wish the scale had all the Batmobiles the same size. Not same size, but same proportions. So at least if you had a bigger Batmobile, if this was, for example, smaller than the 89 Batmobile, it really should be smaller as a release. It shouldn't be a big Batmobile. It should all be the same scale, which is one thing I'm not crazy about. If you overlook that, which maybe might be a small point to make for you guys, maybe it's not that big of a deal, but if that's something you can overlook, I love these Batmobiles that they're releasing. I just wish that they were in better scale to one another. Today's collectible spot, we were having a look at the Hot Wheels. This was the 1980s Batmobile. Stay tuned, guys. Spot's going to have more collectible spots heading your way. As always, thanks for watching. See you next time. Just one thing that Spot also wanted to point out with the new scale of these Batmobiles. Now, we've already had a look at a good handful of them over the series of the reviews, and something else I want to point out to you. This, looking deep into Spot's collection, this is just his collection of Hot Wheels cars that I've kind of been collecting and, of course, reviewing over the last little while. I've got ones varying from the Scooby-Doo Mystery Mobile, Mr. Machine, I always say Mr. Mobile, the Homer, the Simpsons car, even like the Brandon Walsh Mustang, a couple of the Batmobiles. I try to keep all the Batmobiles on the one side. I've got several of the DeLoreans, the Super Pursuit kit, the Tumbler, the Ecto ones. At any rate, what I wanted to just kind of quickly add on to this video, and this is something that I'm gonna that adds to my frustration of it. Having a look at one of the Batmobiles that we had a look at, this is the 66 Classic Series Batmobile. Unfortunately, it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit anywhere in these new, well, in this style. There might be other styles available, but it doesn't fit this style of storage container. I can't, in fact, let me just try to tip it on its angle there. See how much it sticks out? I can't even fit any of the Batmobiles into this, even like the 80s Batmobile. It'll fit, but it's way too long. The Batman and Robin Batmobile doesn't stick, well, it sticks out, and don't even try with the Batman Returns Batmobile. That big fin, ultimately I can't put it anywhere. So I'm gonna have to get myself another case. Sad, sad day. Wish, oh wish, these could have been in a better scale, that at least I could have fit them in with the rest of my Batmobiles, and so I could have actually closed the case where I'd like to keep everything nice and organized. I just want to tack this video on to you, just so in case somebody was to ask, gee, Spot, can the scale fit in a standard Hot Wheels display case? And the answer is, unfortunately, no. I'll have to find some other means to store these when I'm not having them on display. Lone Tier. See you guys next time.